Hey everybody, Jake here and welcome to the hobby. What do I have here? It is a massive stack of Pokemon cards all sleeved up inside of Card Saver 1s, and these are cards that I'm currently holding on to waiting for PSA to reopen up their grading services so that I can submit these. It's a massive stack of cards and I am a bit tired of waiting, honestly. Currently, the cheapest offering for a PSA grading submission is $200, and it doesn't look like they're going to open up any of the lower tier submission levels at all. And honestly, I can go over the list of cards in this pile. It's a really nice stack of Pokemon cards that are just ready to be graded. These are all fantastic, and whatever grade these come back in, I'm perfectly happy. The value of each of these individual cards are below $500, so this was part of my large bulk submission, just tons of different variety cards that I would love to have graded inside of my collection. A lot of really cool cards, some Japanese, some English, some vintage, some modern, just random cards that I pretty much gathered through a bunch of different purchases, auctions, different ways that I snag Pokemon cards up. And you know, all of these cards are not worth it to be submitted under the $200 tier. However, I do have a couple of cards that are worth it to be submitted under the $200 tier, and I'm considering submitting them. There's one card in particular that is going to be a little bit risky. However, it has the upside potential, so I'm going to go over that card with you guys. It's a card that I've been holding for a while now, and I'm dying to see what grade it comes back as. It's a very challenging PSA 10, and it's going to be a lot of fun to have it graded, so let's check it out. So every single card inside of my collection that is ungraded, most of the ones that are really valuable, I already have sent off to be graded. So I don't have a lot of cards that are really valuable that are ungraded. If they're valuable, they're probably already graded. I have two in particular that are really valuable and are ungraded. The first one is this gold Reshiram and Charizard Tag Team GX. This card is a part of the community portfolio, a really fantastic card. We pulled this from our Tag Team GX All-Stars booster box. This card in a PSA 10, I would value it around $1,000. It's a really fantastic card, and this card has a really good chance of being a PSA 10. I really see zero flaws with this card. It's really nice. The centering is dead on. There's not a scratch on this baby. A really fantastic chance of it being a PSA 10. However, do we want to spend $200 to get it graded? Probably not. So this is not the card that I was planning on sending to be graded. So let me share with you guys that card. Boom. This is the XY Evolutions Charizard. We pulled this card from an absolutely random XY Evolution booster pack. It was inside a random tin that I was doing some spring cleaning, and I opened up for the channel and it just popped out of nowhere. A really fantastic card. Now, I know this card is one of the most challenging to get in a PSA 10. Extremely challenging. If I remember correctly, Durian, who is another YouTuber, he submitted over 30 copies of Pack Fresh XY Evolutions Charizard, and not a single one came back as a PSA 10. Now, I would never say I'm a Pokemon card expert. However, I think I have a good eye for PSA 10s, and this card is really, really good. I'm not going to take it out of the sleeve, so I apologize for that, because this card is so gosh darn hard to get in a PSA 10 that if I just breathe on it without a sleeve, I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to get a PSA 8. But it is immaculate. I've stared at this card quite a bit, and I see little to no flaws. I'm not going to say I see no flaws. If I look really, really close, I can in fact see the tiniest of flaws. The centering is perfect. The front has no scratches. The surface is fantastic. The centering on the back is not perfect, but you don't need perfect centering to get a PSA 10. 4060 will do, and this is way better than a 4060 centering, so I'm happy with that. So what are the flaws I'm talking about? Well, if I look just along the edges, I can see the tiniest of white specks from the cuts. When these cards were cut, there's just the tiniest of imperfections. So that's the only flaws that I see. Personally, I don't think that's enough of a flaw to deduct this card to a PSA 9. Would I bet my life on the fact that this card is a PSA 10? I would not. However, I think this card is worth the risk of us sending into PSA and seeing what grade it comes back as, and I'm willing to submit it under the $200 express service. Now, honestly, I'm actually kind of curious how long it'll take to get this card back. If you submit your cards to PSA through any other level of service, good luck. You're probably waiting a year, especially longer if you submitted it in bulk. If you submitted your card to PSA in bulk in January of this year, you're not getting your cards back this year. I'm just setting you guys up for that. However, their express service is still available and it's very fast. I'm spending $200 to get this card graded. Now, what's the risk in that, okay? This card is either going to be a PSA 9 or a PSA 10, and I'm actually leaning towards the PSA 10. If this card is a PSA 9, it's currently worth around $200 to $250, somewhere in that range, which is the cost of just getting this card graded. So we pretty much lose $100 if we send this card and it comes back as a PSA 9. However, if it comes back as a PSA 10, this card is going to be valued at around $3,000. So that's a huge upside. Am I willing to do a very risky bet that this card would either make me lose $100 or I get $2,800 in terms of value? I'm willing to take that risk. I'll be honest, I'm a memer, I'm a dreamer, and I love playing some risky games when it comes to collecting because that's exciting. It's fun to have a little bit of risk and see the rewards come true. And if not, lesson learned. We learned something today, and I'm willing to take that risk with you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to submit this card for the $200 express service with PSA. I expect this card to come back within a week or two. It's going to be fast. I imagine their express service is still extremely fast. I mean, you're spending $200 to get one piece of cardboard graded. They better be doing that extremely fast. So we're going to submit that card, and I'm going to see what grade it comes back as and if it was worth the risk or not. It's going to be a really interesting tell. I know that that card is going to come back as either PSA 9 or PSA 10. I would never submit to PSA again if that card came back as a PSA 8 or lower. I'm so confident in the results of this card that I'm willing to bet the $200 that it comes back as a PSA 10. And if I'm wrong, well, lesson learned. Maybe XY Evolutions is a much more challenging grade than I expected. And that's totally fine too. But I think it's going to be fun. So tune in. We're going to get this card back in a week or 2 weeks. And I'm just going to be interested to see what grade it comes back as. If it's a PSA 10, then fantastic. I do not have a PSA 10 XY Evolutions Charizard inside of my collection, and it'll be a very nice addition to my collection. I'm not a Charizard collector, but even I can appreciate the value of a PSA 10 XY Evolutions Charizard. If you grade this card with BGS and it comes back as a black label, oh my goodness, you have yourself a treasure card. Now, I know I tell people don't buy a card because of the label, but if you get yourself a BGS Black Label XY Evolutions Charizard, that card is gonna be very, very expensive. Man, I love looking at these other cards that I have sleeved up. These are all inside of Card Saver 1. I submit all my cards inside of Card Saver 1. It's what PSA recommends. It's how I've always submitted my cards. And I get really good results when I submit my cards in Card Saver 1. If you can, you could technically submit your cards in top loaders. However, I personally don't recommend it. I'm not a huge fan of submitting my cards in top loaders. It's just a little bit risky. It's not as tight of a hug as some of these other cards. So yeah, I have just a bunch of different cards. Some of these were opened this year or a bit earlier, and you guys might remember some of these from other videos. Just going down memory lane, looking at the old McDonald's promo cards. I remember when we pulled this Entei from a mystery box, all kinds of cards. So yeah, I can't wait to submit this Charizard. I might put it up to a vote if we want to submit the Gold Reshiram and Charizard from the community portfolio. If you guys are willing to dump $200 to get this card graded, then why not? I mean, I'm pretty confident you guys will vote yes on that. So yeah, I might submit these two cards together. We'll see what the grades come back as, especially for the Charizard, and it'll be a fun lesson to learn. Will this card come back and I will lose a lot of money, or will this card come back and I will get even more money? It's purely a values game when it comes to collecting, and this is part of the fun of it. This is why I enjoy collecting Pokemon cards a lot more. It's what gets me out of bed. It's really exciting to look at these cards and just wonder what the grades on them are. So yep, we're going to submit this card as soon as this video goes out. I will have a video up in 1 to 2 weeks updating you guys on the results of this Charizard. And yeah, we'll have a real fun time. So see you guys then. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.